Status, Orchard 1, let's start with it. We have, oh, sorry, demos. I usually call for demos, but usually nobody have demos.
There's
but
actually one upcoming demo. He's joining us in a few minutes.
Okay, we have two demos then, because Matteo or Hermes, who will do that?
Matteo.
Okay, hi. Matteo. But later, okay, I will after the status. So Matteo will be about the localization, well, the content item picker with localization changes that we talked about 2 weeks ago. He made a PR, and we reviewed the PR, and I asked him to make a demo to show us how it looks like. Mm-hmm. And Sipke, I assume it's for authentication?
Yes, OpenId.
Yeah, because you promised us something like this.
Correct.
That OpenID, and for Matteo it will be ContentPicker. Status, Orchard 1. Not that much. Last week we talked about this one. On dev, change literal trimming, so Rob made an optimization to do a bulk delete of all the audit trails when they have to be deleted instead of for eaching them. And this one is a PR that was merged yesterday from Marek, which will fix the parsing of the PO files when the string is only a single quote, and that will fail the parsing. Now it's just ignoring the issue and adding a log. Matteo, I'm just muting you because your clock is not making any noise, but you were making noise. For those who don't know, Matteo has a very loud clock in his room. So that's 01, 02. This one is up to date because, no, this one is not up to date because I'm not working on this machine. So what's happening? The issue is that here we have a mixed view of new stuff and old stuff from Nick. You see, it's kind of sad, but that's how it works. So a SaaS module, I will show you. It's on refactoring, about organizing the code into different sets of modules. I want to show you. This is the PR which was merged for SaaS modules. This is Nick working on a branch to refactor the extension management, and he's still working on that. There is like a lot of commits, but it's actually pretty simple change. It's just a lot of comments and refactoring with async and method names and API. So that's it. This is Asp Net 110 branch. And you see I'm updating it. So this is just ensuring that Orchard works and is up to date with the new Asp Net 110 version, and there are new things inside that are important. Well, bug fixes and perf improvements, but we have to ensure everything still works, and also update all the project references to point to the 1.1 version. As soon as Asp Net 110 is shipped, then I will merge it in master, okay, and update the feed to this one, because right now the feed is pointing to an RTM feed, and this should be pretty soon. I'm sure. Well, I know better than Bertrand actually, so it's coming back pretty soon. Fixing blah blah blah, not awaited calls. This is a different branch, I assume. Fixing RequireSettings allocations, very interesting one. I fixed the perf issue, which was supposed to actually improve things, but it was bad. So I made a cache. So you know the settings, The resource definitions in Orchard 1 and 2 are the things to define resource management, like Bootstrap, jQuery, whatever scripts you want. And it's creating a resource setting. And each resource setting will be resolved into a URL based on different settings, like do you use a CDN, are you in debug or not, then we need to point the min file to the non-min file, and so on. And resolving the URL it's actually pretty cheap, but I cached it. I don't know why, but I cached it, and I cached it using a concurrent dictionary, okay, because resources might be accessed by 2 requests at the same time. Okay, fine. So I cached it, and I use a RequireSetting as a key, but this thing doesn't implement get hash code, and it will create a new entry every time in the concurrent dictionary, so it was not cached. And actually, the resource definition is recreated on every request, which means we will have concurrent dictionary created on every request, and every usage recreate an entry in the concurrent dictionary. So this was a very bad cache, premature optimization, very bad premature optimization. And when I removed it, the full system was much faster. Like if you were using, in pages which were using actual resources, it's now twice as fast. So I removed it, and also in terms of memory, it was used the memory it was using. So now it's fixed. Small change which improves things. This is a pull request which was merged apparently also. This is for refactoring Data.Abstractions, nothing interesting, just fixing references. Who needs abstractions and who needs data? We just need abstractions most of the time. This is a fix from Andre Seraco. He's not here, I'm not sure. Andre, I can't find him. No. So this is just defining the maths page count to 0 so the pagers correctly appear. Just as a reminder, it's also a behavior we have in O1. When you have millions of content items, what takes time to render pages of content items is to actually count the content items. Even if you want to display 10, if you want to display the pager that shows the millions of content items, you need to count them. And counting is slow. Whatever you do, it's slow to count things when you have lots of content items. So the behavior with this property is if you set it to some specific value, not 0, it won't try to count items. It will assume there are 500 items max. Okay? And say, okay, you can go up to 500. And maybe the pager is clever enough to see that after 500 there is still some content and show you the next thing. So it won't show you the number of pages, it will just show you the last page and more link. Okay, so you can do that this way. You won't be able to count items. So this is a perf optimization, and I set it by default, 2 to 500 just to see if it was working. So he's putting back to 0 because he wanted to see the pager correctly. Okay, so this is a perf trick that was introduced in Orchard 1 2 years ago, I assume, something like that. Nick working on that. So very important. Branch, Jean-Thierry last time fixed, what did he work on? Can't remember. Before ShapeTable, what was he working on? Oh, dynamic compilation. Yeah, when he was done with dynamic compilation, I asked him, what do you want to do now? Do you have any plan? And he said, no, he's open. So I suggested, I had opened an issue about ShapeTables, and I suggested him to implement it. The idea is that a ShapeTable is just a big dictionary of shape types to lambdas that will render the shape type. Okay, and this ShapeTable is filled with by using what we call shape harvester or shape descriptors. Well, shape harvester will create shape descriptors. So shape harvester, we have 3 or 4 of them. We have one which is called the shape template binding, shape template harvester, which will find every razor file and create a shape based on that. We have one which is called shape attribute harvester, which will find any iShape descriptor implementation and find all the method with a shape attribute on that and make a shape out of it, a shape renderer. We also have one for placement. We also have one for shape templates in database. So that's how we create things to render shapes. I say sensible. The issue with the current implementation in Orchard 1 is that every tenant has its own shape tables. Okay, because every tenant has different modules, and every module can define different ways to render shapes, like different templates or different classes, different placement, and so on. So not only every tenant has different things, but every theme gets a different shape table, because themes can also provide different ways to do things. So we are duplicating a lot of data in memory, and so I suggested in an issue to later improve it, because it's independent to how we work with Orchard, but to improve it by actually creating one per feature and dynamically generate a chain of these based on all the features that are enabled in a current tenant for a current theme. And this way, instead of duplicating all the tables again and again, we are just creating different graphs of tables based on the current context. Okay? And I said, okay, because I know he's very into lower level things and he can understand very complex things. I'm like, try that. And he did that in a week. So now it works. He's fixing the unit test, and it's in a branch, and it will be merged as soon as all the unit tests pass, which should be now or today or tomorrow, something very, very soon. And yeah, and he also measured the time it takes to build a new shape table. So it's important when you create tenants or when you initialize tenants, and also the memory it takes. So there are gains in both shape table creation and memory usage. No, Zoltan is not here because I'm sure. So Janos, tell him that he should watch the video, because I'm sure he will care about this one. This has an impact on hosting for memory and speed of loading things. So these changes, they are in Orchard 2, but the same changes could and should be applied on Orchard 1 also. So I will be happy that someone look at the branch, even the end result when it's done, and try to see to backport it in Orchard 1. It's very important for multi-tenancy, and the code should be exactly the same in the end, because the code in Orchard 2 was literally the same as in Orchard 1. So the changes on Orchard 2 should be the same on Orchard 1. Lombic should do that. They use multi-tenancy a lot, so they should do that. Janos, it's for you. So that's it. What else? Nick working on his branch. Sergio working on the auth to branch with Kevin. Sebastian working on, what is that? What is this branch? I don't know. This one, what is it? Search. I'm still working on search. Yes. I have something new to show you. But what? Oh, this is because I rebased. This is why it appears here. Yes, this is because I rebased. And this morning I fixed an issue that Sergio opened on the roles management. The roles were, when you will do some changes, they were lost after restart. Lots of issues in the RoleStore actually. My bad, but I fixed them with caching. It was caching the result, but not storing them correctly. So this is fixed. I have two demos. I have that and indexing. Okay. Demos. We'll start with Sipke because he was the first one to. Well, unless your friend is not ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's ready. Who is that?
Ready.
So I can.
Actually, it's going to be Thayer. He's going to do the demo.
On your machine?
On his own machine.
What's his name?
Thayer. He's there in the list. Bottom. Yep.
Who?
Thayer.
Thayer. Okay.
Yeah.
Make a presenter. I will. So I will stop presenting, and you can do it, Thayer, whenever you want. Make a presenter.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
I'm just trying to share my screen.
So how long do you think the demo will take?
5 minutes,
Good.
5 to 10 minutes.
That's okay.
Maximum. A quick introduction about what the demo is. I've added support to the OpenID authentication method for the main default OpenID providers today, which are Google, Facebook, Twitter, and the Azure Active Directory. I've added them in an extensible way. So if you have a new OpenID provider, you just need to implement an OpenID provider interface that we have here, and that will easily go within the rest of our default providers. The module I added is called the Orchard.OpenID module. I think I can start with a quick demo and then come back to the code. It's a basic new Orchard installation, nothing new but my module. It is taken from the latest dev branch. So currently the application is loading.
So there, I will just interrupt you just to mention that Sergio is working on the same thing on Orchard too. So I hope he will have questions and comments.
Okay.
And he's also making a module called Orchard.OpenID.
So that's nice.
See?
Yeah, I see.
Isn't it so fair that you can you mute yourself?
Yeah, give me a second.
Well, his sound is very nice, Sipke. I don't know what you're asking him to do, but his sound is very nice. I will not change anything. If you have an issue,
his sound is fine, but I'm hearing myself. We're in the same room, and I hear myself echo.
okay.
That's horrible.
Give
All
me-
right.
Give me a second.
I was
Sipke.
just asking about the OpenID module created by Sergio, and I was asking Per whether he took that code or parts of it.
So we can hear you better, Sipke. Can you talk there? We don't hear Thayer anymore. So please
Yeah,
go.
I'm
I
here.
can hear you. Okay, good,
Yeah.
good.
I'm here.
Perfect. Okay, go on.
So this is the main page, the default one. If you just click sign in, it will redirect you to a new sign-in page. You have the ability to sign in using the old mechanism, the default forms authentication mechanism, or you can choose one of some OpenID account providers that you can make or use some of the customs. So currently I'm going to try to log into Google.
It won't work.
Take me to Google. I'll enter my username, password, and then it will redirect me back to my application. If the authentication was successful, creating a new cookie and passing the information that Google provide as an OpenID provider to my site. So it's currently still
Told you
signing in.
it won't work. Told you.
Yeah. No, it's working, but this I have a small problem with the logon callback ID. So here you see now I'm authenticated as Tal Ajloni, and this is a a cookie made by Google, and I can access everything that I'm allowed to access. If I need admin access to access the dashboard using this user, I'll just need to add the administrator role so I can sign in as an admin. So if I sign out again, I sign in quickly as the admin, or I can use the Orchard.exe to add myself, but for the sake of demo, I'll quickly go to the dashboard. You can see under the users that I have a new user called Tal Ajloni. Editing it, I can add him the proper role. So now he's an admin, he can access the dashboard.
Can you edit the user?
Sorry. Yeah, I can.
Okay,
But
this is the okay.
locally. Locally, it will not reflect any edits on the Google side. So now we have a custom role. If I try to log in again using that, sorry for this small error. Here you see now I am an admin, I can access the dashboard. And since I'm in the dashboard, I can show you that you can configure the OpenID settings from the dashboard, entering the OpenID data, the app ID secrets of all of these settings. So talking more about how this is enabled, it's a custom module called OpenID, and each of the providers, you can see under the providers category, I made a new category called OpenID providers, which with each of available providers. Now these are
They should be the same category.
Okay, noted. So I'll just, instead of adding this under authentication, I'll add it under the OpenID.
That's fine.
Right?
Yeah, but
Okay.
don't worry.
Okay, no problem.
Just a small comment.
Okay.
And so the UI in the settings is driven by the providers also?
Is driven, yes, it's two parts. Part that it will be driven by the provider, and it has an editor template for each. So it will be gathered using the provider. Each one of these providers will have his own handler, and this handler will define the settings, and the UI will be defined by an editor template. So if I go to the Google ID settings part handler, you'll see that it will add it on the other handler.
Google settings part.
Besides for
Okay, on the site. Okay.
Besides for Google, so I see that you have, Active Directory single sign-on.
Yes.
Does that fully function?
Yeah, I've tested it by adding a new registered applications under an Active Directory tenant that I have, and it was successfully. If you like, I can demo it now. It's working.
Later we have many demos, but that's some. And Russell is just saying, "Take my money."
Well, no, see, that is one of the next modules I was going to have to work on, was the fact of dealing with single sign-on across multiple companies.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because we have a client that has multiple companies, and we have some executive level people that want to be able to have, to be able to sign on once and not have to.
And also, I think I'm not sure Bertrand commented on this one this morning, but I saw an issue yesterday or this morning asking is Orchard can Orchard be used as an OpenID provider or client. I don't know what was the question, but it was related, so maybe that was the question. I would say I have a website, I want to externalize my accounts. Makes total sense. Okay, good.
Well, part two of the
Okay.
thing I'm doing, I was planning to convert Orchard into an identity provider using the identity server 3. So we can turn Orchard into an identity provider, or use any OpenID provider to log in to Orchard using this module.
Yes, George is asking a question. Didn't Gustavo use Orchard as an OpenID provider? Yes, he made a session also about that. Well, he was talking about it, but in this session he was showing as a client, OpenID client. But he also made something work with identity server libraries, and he had many issues. But he made it work also. And I just want to comment: we have many modules related to this one, maybe not as functional or finalized, but Nick has worked on one like 4 years ago or 3 years ago, which I used also personally in Microsoft, but it had some issues. Gustavo's work on that. There is also what Wesley and Jamie's have worked on using specifically for Active Directory. So just mentioning, we have lots of solutions, and that will be good to have a ultimate solution that fixes everything. So we will encourage you to finalize that. That's good.
I have an Active Directory. I took what was the Active Directory from the old Orchard library, which was basically worked with 1.8, and I've modified it to work with 1.10 and later. However, one of the problems you get into is the fact we will have multiple sites, but IIS wants you, even if you have Active Directory, IIS wants you to authenticate for each one of those sites, which is the reason why I'd like to go to more, a single sign-on and federated service.
Yeah, this will work. What he did will work, I'm sure. If what you showed us there with Google works also with Active Directory, then Russell's wishes are solved.
At least it would be a good thing to know exists before I go on vacation.
Hurry up there.
Yeah, no, it's working. You can just download it from the feature OpenID. It's over on GitHub. I can provide you the link and play with it as long as you need.
Yes, I would be very much interested in looking at that.
It looks
Okay,
great.
so I'll just share the GitHub.
Yeah, please paste it in the chat. I will also add it to my notes. Sergio, do you have any question? Nope, I don't see any question from Sergio or comment. Okay, I will add this link to my notes. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's it, done with your demo?
Yes, that's it, basically.
Thanks, that's great.
Thank you, guys.
So Sipke will keep us up to date with the status and tell us when it's done and done, that we can try to see if we can integrate that, if we can, technically and legally, we'll see. Or we can at least point to that, but that would be great. Oh, Wesley joined. Wesley, I was mentioning you. Did you hear me?
No, I did not. No. Sorry.
Oh, you didn't see the demo?
No.
Oh. So the demo was a module called OpenID.
Yeah.
And he showed how to authenticate using Google directly in Orchard. And Google was just an OpenID provider, and there was also Facebook provider and Active Directory provider.
Mm-hmm.
And they were creating the accounts also locally, and you can assign roles on that. So I was mentioning all the efforts around federated authentication and what you have done and what Nick had done and what Sergio is doing on Orchard too. And yeah, so that would have been nice to have also your comments, feedback. So I will suggest that you watch the video when it's online.
Will do. Yep, sorry. Project meetings, I will never make it on time.
Well, it's for you. That's fine. Thank you.
I will check it out.
Okay, Matteo, your turn. You can share your screen. So for those who don't know Matteo, Matteo and Hermes and many others from the laser company, because you will all see that they have a dash laser on their name. Matteo, are you sharing the screen? You can also unmute yourself. I muted you earlier, but please unmute yourself.
Okay. Hi. Sorry, let me just share the screen.
And they are very interested into having a good localization story for Orchard. And we've been actively doing design meetings and opening issues and trying to find solutions in Orchard 1 to make things perfect. Yep.
Tell me whenever you see the screen.
I can see Anyanos too. So I just found out that if you look on the participants list on Link, the last icon is a screen, and whenever the screen is blue means they can see what you're projecting. So
okay,
I
cool.
don't have to ask Janos anymore.
Cool. Okay, so this is a simple demo about the features we implemented for localization about the ContentPicker. So for this demo, I just created a tenant that has basically a content type event that is localizable and has a ContentPicker field, a content type location that is localizable, and a content type specialty that is not localizable. So basically, I've already created several events which I'm going to use to show the different features, and each one of these has different things in their ContentPicker fields. So the normal case as the new feature disabled, so everything works as usual. So let me just go ahead and enable the feature we worked on. So localization extensions, that's enabled. This will provide basically a bunch of settings for ContentPicker fields that allows to manage localizations work. So you see we have a verify culture setting and a replace selected item setting, which basically are those that for the features we talked about. I will start with the verify culture. So to begin with, what this setting will do is it will block saving with failed verification when the content item field in your item, the items selected in the ContentPicker field have a different culture than the actual content item. So now opening the event, there you go. This is not the one I wanted to open, sorry. They're in the wrong order. Okay, this is the one. Right, so this is the Italian version of an event. You see it contains in its picker field an English content and content that is not localizable. So if I try to save now, it should prevent me. So yes. So you see it stops me from saving because there is item ID 15, item with ID 15, which is this one, whose culture is not Italian. So so this is the first feature. Sorry, the first functionality in the feature. Now for the second part is the subsetting here. You see, so Sebastian, this is the part where I add the inline styling just to indent these settings, the subsettings. So if I enable this, basically this will prevent saving a content when the the content picker field contains items that cannot be localized, so they don't have a localization part. And I'm going to show you this on another event. So this event is in English, and in its content picker field we have a non-localizable item and a French item. So if I publish, you will see we have the error for both items now. Now we go to the more complex functionality of fields here. So we'll disable the verification just to make things simpler to show, and I will enable this functionality. So what this does is whenever you save your content item, it will check in the content picker field, see that the selected items have the same culture of the content item, and if they don't, it will look for their translation. Now with the first setting here, it will look for them and it will replace the selected items if it finds it. It will do nothing when it doesn't find the translation. So let me open this. So this is an English event. And you see we have Italian, French, and English contents in the picker field. So if I publish now, it will give us a warning. These items were replaced for the localization. And you see now everything is in English. You see here we also added this short note under the picker field, just to warn the user that the information in the field is going to be changed by the software. Then we have the first subsetting of this. Sorry, let me just make sure. Okay, the second subsetting here is remove items that do not have the correct translation. What this does basically is when we go on and try to update the content picker field, it will look for the translations, and if it's not able to find any for an item, it will remove it from the selection in the content picker field. So let me do it for this one. This item is in French, And we have here an Italian item that has a French translation. I have my notes on the side that tells me this one will have a French translation. This is in French already, so it will not be changed. And this is in English, and it does not have a French translation. Again, we have a warning here telling us that the items will be localized, and those that cannot be localized will be removed. So you see, couldn't find the localization for item 17 that was removed. We found the localization for item 19, so that was replaced. So you see we have only the French items. This is the non-localizable one. And we're going to act on that now with the last subsetting. Basically, it does the same thing. It removes the items that cannot be localized at all. So to do that, we're actually going to create a translation of this one, in Italian. These the creation of the translations here in this branch I'm using uses the cloning feature from Dev, which I pulled in 110x, just because it was quicker for me to create translations that way. And then we're going to do the translation. Did I set the settings? Sorry, forget. I did? Okay. So we're going to do the translation. It's going to try and translate the contents. So we will have the Italian one here, because we have an Italian translation of this one, while everything else does not have an Italian localization, so it's going to be removed. You see, something was removed. Couldn't find localization, so removed. And we have the correct localization for one. And of course, this is the auto route, just setting the stop. So you see. So this is the functionalities enabled from this feature.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so these are the things we'll discuss.
Just one little comment in your warnings. Don't use the item IDs. It's not what we tend to do. At least you can use a display text if you want to display the title of each item, but the ID is usually not used directly. We don't use that. Even more, the title is displayed actually in the selected list, so you should match it.
Okay,
it's very easy. You just use display text. Okay, get metadata, display text, and it will be there. Perfect. But that looks very good, and everything works.
Let me just make a note of using the display text. Okay.
Any questions for Matteo?
Yeah, there is a question. Thank you, Sergio. From I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce it right. Jasmine.
It's French. It's French Canadian.
I'm sorry about that. There's another content title that has null localization. Yes, it will actually check for null. It will see a localization part, try to process it, see the localization is null, and yeah, ignore it. Basically treat it as if it's the wrong localization.
Very good. And just a comment. So we've been working with Matteo and Hermes. Also Sergio joined, Soteris joined. Last week, Robert, which on GitHub is called Xeno, joined us from Germany. And very productive meetings and discussions about how to handle localization and translations. Very, very productive. And we found many issues and good solutions to fix them, and you can see in 1 week, just 1 week, what Matteo was able to do to first fix the ContentPicker. And I don't know what you are working on so now, if you have started some other work like taxonomies or translation set IDs or whatever, but I'm very looking forward to the result. We'll merge these changes on Thursday in the master branch, in the 110x branch.
Sorry. We will work on taxonomies from tomorrow, Sebastian.
Sorry?
We will work on taxonomies from tomorrow.
Oh my God. Awesome. So taxonomy, I will just I will share now, Matteo. So I will just share to show you what we've done with taxonomy, because it's also in my topics. So on Friday morning we had a meeting. There was Hermes and Matteo and Xeno, aka Robert from Germany, who joined us, and the result is here. Sad that Sergio could not be here, but I assume he will. Yeah, he commented on the issue and he will agree with all the things we did.
7352.
Thank you. I was about to ask you. 7352. Okay, the design notes, and this time we were sure that to be very explanatory of in what we wanted to say, because last time, remember, we had a discussion about the menus and I updated the comment, the description about the menus, so there is no more question. So just if you want to see how menus will work with the localization, it has been updated somewhere. I can't, yeah, it should be there somewhere. Yes, here it's now in very good English, better English, so there is no ambiguity possible. And just take a look at it, and we'll have to do that too. Well, there is nothing to do almost. And these are the notes for taxonomy, and we looked at it's a matrix of cases like when taxonomy itself is localizable, when terms are localizable, when taxonomy and terms are localizable, how it will behave in UI and in data, and what helpers we can provide to handle localization of taxonomy and taxonomy field. And we are simplifying everything, and it's making everything work perfectly. It should be awesome. Sergio just asked for more scenarios. Apparently, I have to read them and understand them, but Hermes apparently understood the requirement. But we won't, please, Hermes and Matteo, we don't try to add more complexity if Sergio's questions are too complex, okay? Because Sergio has very specific requirements, and we don't want to please him. We like to have him fight for his features, but I'm sure they are good. I just have to understand what he wants. Yeah, you see all these questions were. So yeah, you will know what to do. Beautiful, it will be beautiful. One big change we'll do for taxonomy is that you might know that when you create a new taxonomy, there is a dynamic content type which is created for the terms. What we'll do is change the dynamicity into a staticity. So we'll first create a content type, and when you create a taxonomy, you will be able to select which content type you want your terms to be of. This way, there will be less bugs, and you can even share the types between taxonomy terms. That will be much easier. Simpler code and better features. And just one comment, that's it. Questions? Okay, good. So my turn for demos. SAS module and indexing aspect. Yeah, two new things actually. Let me connect to my machine. I assume everyone can see my screen.
Yes, it's fine.
What? I closed Visual Studio? Oh my god. Fortunately, it's a fast machine. Am I actually? Yeah, I'm on the. Am I on the machine or am I on my local machine? I'm lost. Yeah, this looks like. I'm lost. Where is the machine? So yes, I'm the. Okay. Visual Studio. It's here. No, it was okay. I loaded it on the other machine. Okay, so this is master. So I wanted to show you SAS. SAS. What is SAS? So the idea is that you know, we've talked about it to be able to have different layers of Orchard, the content management system, and Orchard SaaS, which software as a service, which should be everything but without content management modules. So I reordered the modules in this way. There are two solution, or three solution, well, two are interesting. Two solution level folders, one with modules.cms and one with modules.sas. And in this folder, everything has no dependency on the content management modules. Okay, admin can be used in any app. Commons is just to bootstrap background tasks, deferred tasks, yes, SQL, things like this, which can be used in any app. Diagnostics to have error pages, dynamic cache, modules management from the admin, navigation management, recipes to run recipes, resources to roles, settings, setup, tenants, themes, users. They have nothing to do with content management. They are not content items. They don't know about content management. These ones, they have something to do with content management. Auto route, body, content fields, content types. Demo is a demo module, but uses content management. Deployment, it has some notion of content management, but it could be refactored with a deployment.content to just handle the content item deployment. So we could even have it in the SaaS folder with some little refactoring. Identity is not authentication, but it's content management identity. List, title, tokens, and tokens content, same thing. This one could be in SaaS, but well, who cares about tokens if not for content items? And we'll see. So this is how it's organized, and that works. So I also made two recipes to show the behavior. There is a SaaS recipe and a CMS recipe. The SaaS recipe will enable, that's ugly, I fixed it, or maybe in a branch. You see, it will enable all the modules and setup for the content. Well, the SaaS recipe doesn't enable any content management module, and everything works. And the CMS recipe enables everything. The SaaS plus the CMS. Okay. This is just to show that by using custom recipes, you can build apps without the CMS. So the idea will be that we market Orchard as two different things, as a framework to build SaaS applications, multi-tenant modular SaaS applications, and also as a CMS, and we ship content management modules. Okay, so anyone could build their own ecosystem of application. Like, let's say, I'm George, I want to build an e-commerce. I don't care about content management, let's say in a different word. They could use everything from Orchard, but not the content management, have their own content management modules, and call it whatever, one-stop SaaS. Boom. But there are more extreme ways to do that. Okay? So that's the first thing that is kind of new. The second thing is actually more of a, well, yeah, that's not a question. I will just show you what I did. I worked on the search branch for that, where it was actually triggered by the search feature, the requirements. So in the search branch, the update is that I created a feed called a MyGet feed called Orchard2, where I put the preliminary Lucene.NET Core assembly package. So I can reference it, and to reference it in the NuGet file, I just point to this also feed, so we can have our own packages if we want, custom versions, updated versions, or custom packages that are not on NuGet.org on this feed. I put Lucene there, which I built locally. The only issue I have right now is that Lucene, interestingly, doesn't, well, the core version doesn't contain any analyzer, so it can't tokenize things, which makes it useless. So I've sent an email to the dev who work on that, so I get any reason for that. That's very weird. And I checked in ILSpy. There is no analyzer in that. So if you know Lucene, you will understand that it's weird. So I did this thing. Let me show you this thing. File, recent files, no recent projects, Orchard2. It will be quick because it's a fast machine. That's why I work on this one. So in the CMS folder, we have Lucene, and in the core, we have content management. This is the content management I want to show you. I will show you two things. Oh no, don't restore packages. What? Oh. This is the thing I don't want. So first thing, if I go to body, just let me, no, content fields. So now I will show you something which, indexing folder. So remember in Orchard 1, the indexing is a method on the field handler, on the field event. Now it's a thing by itself. You can provide index for a content item. It doesn't have to be a field or part. It's a content item. They are just helpers to let you create indexing for fields and parts. So if I go into this one, you can implement content field index handler if you want to interfere with indexing at the field level. And you can get access to the settings that the user defined for the options of indexing. And then you can add an entry. Here it's the key of the field, and I will add the text of the field to the entry. Okay, this is very simple. Like it's like Orchard 1, almost like Orchard 1. And same thing for the Boolean. We just say it's a Boolean value, and it's the value of the field. And this one, no, there is nothing inside. I will show you another example then. So this is for fields, and for body, I will go into the indexing, a body part index, and the one which is interesting is this one. So same thing, content part index handler for a body part, and we can take the options from the user or the default options. Okay, but here, because we know it's a body and it's made of HTML, we will also add the sanitize option, which will remove any HTML tag, and analyze, which will tokenize the content. Okay, because it's some paragraph content, textual content. And whatever the options were set by the user, we will always check sanitize and analyze. So the store option will be able to set by the user. And here we add it with our custom options, okay, as text. And this is the body. And the key will be for a part, the name of the part, dot, no, yes, the name of the part. That's it, body part. Okay, because here body part cannot be reused. If you had many body parts, because you know now that we can add some parts multiple times, it will be the name of this part, okay? So that's completely dynamic, that's good. And at the content item level, you can also do that. But what I actually wanted to show you is that I added something on the content manager, default content manager. So let me explain you the issue first before the solution. So in Orchard 1, we have aspects like body, iBody part. Okay, you remember we have iBody part in Orchard 1. We also have iLocalization part, or iLocalization, iBody, iLocalization, iStuff. Okay, which are actually aspect like slices of data we want to extract from a content item that can support. And to implement that, we always have a part which implements this thing, like body part in Orchard 1 implements iBody. Localization part implements iLocalizable. User part implements iUser. And when we have a content item, we do .as. I'm not reading the chat, so if you have comments, please interrupt me. So in Orchard 1, when we want the aspect, we do content item .as the interface, like .as iUser, as iBody. And what it does internally is the content manager will do a for each on all the parts of the content item. And if a part implements this interface we want, it will cast it and return the part. Okay? But in Orchard 2, we don't have parts in a content item. We have a graph of data. It's a J object. And we have helpers to project the graph of data on a specific class. Okay, it will just extract the object, the data from it will extract the object from the data. That's it. So we can't browse the parts of a content item. There are properties with values. That's it. So that's a limitation. So we can't use the same thing in Orchard 2. So what I did is in the content manager, get aspect, I made a method called find it. Get aspect. Get aspect, which accepts a T aspect, so the one you want, okay, and return the T aspect you want. And what it does, it will do like get content item metadata. It will invoke all the handlers for get content item aspect, okay, like get item metadata. So it's exactly the same behavior as get content item metadata, but get content item metadata is a thing that only has display text, identity, and route values. Done. Okay. What I want is to be able, for instance, to extract the user information from a content item, the localization information, the body information. So all the things that were aspects in Orchard 1, but dynamically. So this is what this will do, and an implementation of this thing. So if you want to be able to provide an aspect, you will implement a content item handler and also their part and field counterparts. For instance, if I go to body, in handlers, there is a body part handler, and the body part handler could implement get content item metadata. It actually implements get content aspect, and it's called whenever someone calls get aspect on the content item, but it will be called in this case because you have the body part. You can handle the body part. Okay, and in this case, it will say, okay, so the context will contain the information about which aspect is required, and the aspect we need to update. The type here will be iBody aspect in this case. So if someone is asking for the body aspect, we say, yes, I'm a body part. I know how to provide the body aspect of something. The body aspect is just about providing the body of an item. And I can get my body of the body part and say to the body aspect, this is what you need. Okay. Same thing with the localizable part. We will be able to implement that. And this is a way to, for any module, any feature, any component, to provide metadata about a content item based on a common contract like iBody aspect. And the implication of that is we could have an aspect called content metadata that will actually have all the properties that we have here. Or we could have an aspect called iDisplayText, iIdentity, iRoutes, and be able to provide independently all these things, okay, in different handlers. So that will be, I think, the next solution. Go ahead.
Can you explain what the benefit is of having a generic context object that's getting passed into those handler methods?
It's not generic.
As opposed to, for example, having a new kind of handler, or that is a handler of iBody aspect, for example.
It means that, I see. So it will mean that we have to create handlers for every aspect, and an interface for every aspect that you have to implement?
Well, with the generic
no way.
You could pull that up.
No. Nope.
No. I don't see why. But...
Well, because I tried. Maybe I is wrong. So an interface, maybe. Let me see. Okay, so I will resolve dynamically.
Because now you have to test in the code. You have to test. Okay, is this asking body aspect?
Yes, that makes sense. Okay, I see what you mean now. I could have a generic one. I see. That's good. Actually, yesterday night I left the work and I was blocked on that with the genericity, and I was looking for a good solution and I could not find one, and you found it. Thank you. That's why I sent you an email. That's why I sent you an email, because I was doing it at the class level. Okay. And what I can do is actually, it might be some dynamic DI, but that will work still. So the idea is that here in the document manager, you see T aspect. Okay, it's there, it's generic at this level. What I'm doing here is I have to create an instance of the aspect, whatever it is, by creating a dynamic proxy. That's fine, that works. And I'm passing it as an object. And the issue I had, which you pinpointed, is that here, it's an object. I don't know anymore it's an iBody aspect. So I can't say, just call me if it's an iBody aspect. They are all called, and I checked if it is this case. What can be changed?
Yeah, and I don't like that we're putting the burden on the developer here. This could become just one line of code.
Yeah, so what I wanted to do is like a content part handler, which is filtering the part, but what it does, it's because there are different implementations. And in this case, I will have a n times m implementation. I can't do that. So yeah, that's better to say, let's not making a method at the content part handler, but have something called content aspect handler of t. You can implement whatever content aspect handler of iBody aspect, that's fine. And this method will be called with iBody aspect. And to resolve it at this level, we can use a service provider and do service provider get service. And we can ask iContent handler of the aspect. It will resolve it dynamically. We just need to make a generic interface service.
Yeah, and you can also cache that information about which handlers can resolve what aspect type, whereas here in this case, you can never cache that. You have to ask every time. You can't
cache it. You can't cache it, because if you cache it, it means you state that the handlers are singletons. And they can't, and they have to be singletons. That's the issue.
Yes, not exactly what I meant. What I meant was caching the resolution. You can at least cache what type it resolves to.
No, and you don't care.
And then all you have to do is get an.
Oh, yeah, the dynamic type that we will have to create. Yes. Yes, we could cache yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, I see. Thank you. It's funny. I was about to ask you some ideas. Well, yesterday night, and then this morning I sent you the solution I found, which is not perfect actually. Thank you very much. That's why I wanted to talk about it. Questions, comments? What did I miss? I missed something, nothing related to that. Okay. Other news. So this was one topic. Localization meeting. Harvest.
Yeah. So just one thing that I pasted at the beginning of the chat that went unnoticed is that I looked at W3 Tech this morning, and we are actually on the first page. It's the first time I see that happening.
Bertrand, this is not by mistake, that by chance that I have this link on my homepage. This is the first thing I do whenever I open my machine, is click on that.
Yeah.
And look at the stats here. This is the market share. So we have a growing market share, which is not only that we have more sites, but we have more sites in comparison to other. And the link you're promoting is this one.
Yes.
Content management. And it's actually worse than a few weeks ago. A few weeks ago, we were like here.
What happened?
So, well, it happens that some others go faster than us, like Ghost. Ghost, a month ago, was there. And I'm telling you that in a month, it will be above.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so Umbraco is going down.
But, so, yes, Umbraco is always going down.
Is flat.
Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. The issue with Umbraco, I think, is that they removed their generator tag. So you can't know it. Maybe to not appear in those settings, because actually it's a wrong ID. It might mean something, but at the same time, if you don't have the generator tag, it means nothing.
Yeah.
That's the issue. It's very hard to detect Umbraco websites, actually.
Oh, okay.
So I know that.
In any case, I'm not rejoicing about any loss in market share they may have.
And we know that Orchard generates it by default, so it's a manual gesture to remove it. So most of the Orchard websites have it. So this number is quite real. But
and there is another that I noticed that is near Umbraco. If you scroll up a little bit, it's Electron.
Yeah,
that thing needs to die. That one I wish would have less.
So I think Electron. They merged with AP Server. One of them bought the other one, and I think that tag also merged, and that's why it went up at some point. I'm not sure.
So it's just really going down.
I'm not sure. You never know. This is because the issue is this. Like if you look at the Umbraco one, you see the version 7. This is the latest one, and most of their websites are on version 7, but you can't find it. So I assume at version 7 they remove the tag by default. And it's still in version 4. That's why it's going down, because they have more and more sites.
Weird thing to do.
But they don't care. If they don't care about this thing, maybe they also care that you can't compare with others because it doesn't make sense somehow. It's good for us to know how much we are gaining, okay, because we are very low. But for them, well,
no,
we have 10 times.
It's, you can't really do telemetry in your customers' sites. But
yes, which they do. This is different.
You can get some data from it. So
for us, we have a tag to detect that it's an Orchard site when it's published. Them is different. They ping the mothership when a setup is done. Yes, that's why they have maps. They have maps of whoever is using Orchard everywhere, setting up everywhere, and yes, they do a ping. Like we could, but we intentionally don't do.
We decided not to do it.
And we decided, and you were very strict about that. So that's why we remained. Also, one feature of this site which is interesting: you click on Orchard, okay, and then you click on Compare with others, and then you can add any other one, like Ghost, let's say. You click on Ghost, and then you have the graph of the two, and you can add up to 5 items. So you can see that next week we are below Ghost, okay? So good website. We've mentioned it a few times already. That's why you look at it. Yeah, Craft CMS is also going very fast because they are good. They are good. We looked at it for localization a lot. Also, the guys from Laser. It's very nice. It's very nice CMS. Very simple. Look at that. Boom. It's crazy, right? It's just 1 year of doubling the market share in 1 year. It's crazy. It's a good one. Will be better than Craft CMS at some point. Don't worry. Okay, questions, comments? Oh yes, I was. Harvest, we updated the website, so thanks to Antoine who updated the theme with a nice banner. So the website updated, we removed the sessions because we don't have session yet. You can file the session submission. Location is there, contact is a link, and there's a link to the Eventbrite to buy your tickets, which are cheap, $99. Until December 31st. After it's $149. And we'll get rich. Never. Okay. So the website is up to date. So now we will start communicating on the event: Twitter, Facebook, blog post, whatever, and the call for sessions. And when we have sessions, we can post them on the site. That's it. That's it. So see you on Thursday. Thanks everyone for joining.